Our next speaker will also speak about vague wireless security stuff. After password, this is antivirus. This is François Deschelles, and it will talk about Armadito. Let's applaud him.
Thank you. So, Armadito is an antivirus project which is quite young because we are on GitHub since May last year. And thanks to Anne, who gave me the idea of making a one-year celebration. One-year celebration will be next May, probably in Paris. So what it is? It's a project developing an antivirus which is completely open source. It's backed by TechLib, which is a French editor located in Paris and focusing only on open source. Briefly about the licenses, it's a mix of LGPL, GPL, and Microsoft Public License, which is an open source recognized license. This because of a Windows driver, which is used for real-time protection. Some original feature, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is that it's a modular antivirus. It aims to be multi-platform, yet Linux and Windows. It offers standard antivirus functionalities, that is on-demand scan of files and directory, putting detected files in a quarantine area, raising alerts, having a journal of event, of course, and offers real-time protection, which means that it can intercept any file open in a specified directory and scan file before they're open and block opening of detected files. On Linux, it's implemented using FA Notify, and on Windows, it's implemented using our own driver, which is based on file system filter. Modular. Why? Because, in fact, analysis is not completely integrated and locked into the core of the antivirus. It's done with modules, which are plugins, which can be dynamically loaded, written in C yet, and that they use a small API, which mainly four functions: load, configure, scan a file, and unload. We support yet 4 modules. One uses libclamav and clamav signature. You all probably know the clamav antivirus, which is kind of historical antivirus on Linux. We also support Yara. Yara is both a scan engine and a format for extended signature. It's a project that is backed by VirusTotal and which is very active and which is probably offers more extension with respect to clamav. But we also have 2 our own modules. One is a heuristic module for classifying PE and ELF binaries, and another one is an heuristic module for classification of PDELF, which PDF documents being a well-known infection support. And the future is will offer a possibility to write scan analysis modules in Python and probably also the Go language. We support 2 user interfaces. A first very lightweight one, which runs only in the notification area, the systray, and which shows only notifications. That is mainly when a file was blocked by the real-time protection, or when the database was updated, and so on. And a full interface, which is in fact web-based. It's developed using AngularJS. It interfaces with a small HTTP server, which is embedded into the antivirus and communicates with a REST API. And by the way, the user interface, you have a small screenshot at the left of the slide. What is quite new with respect to open source antivirus is that we offer a central console for management. That is, when you are in an organization or an enterprise, it's very helpful to have a central point where you can know what all the antivirus deployed on your Windows or Linux machines are doing, if they have done detection, if there is some database update problem, things like that. So we have an interface which is based on GLPI. GLPI is a software which is supported by TechLib, and it's an asset management system which is often used, for instance, in education, where you have to manage a large park of various and heterogeneous machines. And it's based also on Fusion Inventory, which is an inventory agent deployed on all the machines of your computing environment. It allows to upload to the central server the inventory of the machine. And we have a management interface for the antivirus, which is integrated into this architecture. So that, for instance, when you have if you go to the tab where you have a list of all the recent detections of all the computers, and when you click on a detection, you know automatically all the inventory information, for instance, the person to contact, where is the computer located, is the system up to date, and so on and so on. And what we are going to do next, well, as soon as possible, recently we are going to make a Linux release very soon. We have a PPA on Launchpad. And we don't have right now a Windows installer, and it's a plan for the next month. We need, of course, more testing, documentation. But other stuff, we would like to re-implement the current heuristic module for binary scan and probably integrate it in a better way with Yara rules. And as I said, to provide API to allow people to integrate modules, scan modules, written in Python and Go. Why this? Because when you analyze quite complex file format, or when you unpack, or when you run whatever analysis on a file, if a file is deliberately ill-formed, or if there's a vulnerability in the scan module, if it's a C or C++ based scan module, it can also obviously drive to memory corruption and maybe exploit. And if you exploit the scan module, then you exploit the antivirus. The antivirus runs with a high, it runs as a root and with administration rights. So you can either get rid of the antivirus or exploit the machine. So having more secure language like Python and Go would allow to have more security when hosting scan modules. And this is related to something else I'm going to talk very soon about. Other issues, of course, code quality. We try to run coverage tests and very recently passed SonarQube analysis. Irma is it's developed by a French company. It's an Virus Total open source equivalent. But it's a web interface to scan files using many antivirus and have the results presented more or less the same way as Virus Total. So we'll provide an Irma plugin that allows to scan files with Armadito. But we also would like to enter Virus Total and AV Caesar, which is another version, another Virus Total-like website, for several reasons. First of all, well, to be well known, and second, to have access to the samples provided by Virus Total. But there are still some interesting issues. If we compare with other proprietary antivirus, we have a huge memory footprint problem. Usually an antivirus, proprietary antivirus, you have a kind of 100 megabytes memory footprint. We run approximately up to 450 megabytes, which is obviously too high, and this is highly related to the CLAMAV module. And we don't know how precisely to fix that now. We have some idea, but the problem is quite complex. Then the question of sandboxing. As I explained earlier, when you run a scan on a file, if the scan code has a vulnerability, you may use that to exploit the antivirus, and to compromise the antivirus and, of course, the complete machine. So one solution is to implement the scan algorithm using more secure languages, but the other solution is to run the scan inside a sandbox. That is, if by accident the scan crashes or has a memory corruption, then you just throw away the sandbox, consider that the file is dangerous, and you're guaranteed that it won't compromise the whole machine. Of course, this is quite difficult to implement in a portable way. Basically, on Linux, it will be seccomp plus BPF. On Windows, we will probably take a lot of inspiration from the browser's sandbox, but it's a kind of complicated job to implement. And another issue is how to have good signature with codes, because in fact, Yara rules, for instance, are more complicated than signature. They can be some kind of complex logical expression, including operators and extensible modules. But the problem is how to produce these rules. And we don't have, obviously, hundreds of little hands analyzing in real time thousands or hundreds of thousands of files coming from the internet. We don't have the resources to pay them. And so how to do that? Well, there are two solutions. For the long-term solution is have an automated process of analyzing collected malwares coming from whatever mean, honeypots, spam, and so on, or community, and for instance, through the IRMA site, and automatically produce rules for recognizing these malwares. But it's a point where, for instance, a community could help by providing world scale collection of malwares. Right now, the Steam team is quite small. Well, the whole team is there. So if you're interested in security, antivirus, and collecting malware for your own purpose, no, please. Well, you're welcome to join us. The project is young, and it has a lot of interesting features to develop. Where to find us? We're on GitHub. We have some documentation on Read the Docs. And you can talk to us on Jitter, but also on Freenode. There is a channel called Armadito. Okay. We have a PPA, and we have now a forum, which was installed last week. It's forum.armadito.org.
Thanks for the talk. Do we have a quick question, someone? We have just the time for a very quick question.
Yeah, hello, everybody. I want to add something about the centralized management system. In fact, we told you that we can manage our antivirus, but in fact, we can manage Kaspersky antivirus, and this is an open source solution for managing multiple antivirus on the same infrastructure. So we centralize alerts from different antivirus in an open source solution, and you can add your antivirus to the system.
Thanks for the precision. Let's upload the speaker.
Thank you.